In American politics, sometimes a development smacks us in the face and we just ignore it or poo-poo it or say, of course, we already knew that. That's the way it is. And that's the way I feel about looking at the money race in our first test of where the presidential race stands and how these guys are raising money. The big news is no individual number, not 100 million with Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton's 45 million or what Bernie Sanders did. The big news out of this is the paradigm shift of super PACs to traditional fundraising. We now have basically 4-to-1 money-wise being raised is being done via the super PAC instead of traditional fundraising. Now, Hillary Clinton put her whole emphasis on an old model of traditional fundraising. That is in line with exactly the way Barack Obama did things. But starting a little bit in 2012, and now we've seen it accelerate now in 2016. The reliance on super PACs is driving the financial race in presidential politics. And the question is, what are the unintended consequences? And these are the things we don't know, and it'll play out in the next 6 to 9 months. With Jeb Bush, what's the unintended consequence that the super PAC is the primary spending and campaign operative organization and not the internal campaign? What is that going to mean when the Jeb Bush campaign is in crisis? Who's in charge? Who's calling the shots? When legally, the super PAC and the campaign can't speak. Then you have the issue of what does this do to traditional fundraising itself? Think about the last 30 years. The person that gave, say, $2,000 to 10 campaigns a year was considered an incredibly important activist donor in either the Democratic or Republican Party. Now, those people are poo-pooed. Here's somebody willing to spend $20,000 a year, not a small chunk of change, on giving to politicians. And now they look at it and they see their money barely makes a difference. Donors, campaigns don't really care about these donors anymore. If you can't write a check for 100 grand, we don't care about you. What is that going to do to enthusiasm? Is that why we've seen traditional fundraising go down? Do donors themselves, mid-level donors themselves, know they're not that needed? And so we're going to have a chicken and egg thing here, not going to figure out why it's happening, but all traditional fundraising will basically go away and everything gets concentrated on the big donors? That seems